Hi, my name is Zach Krueger, and I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. In college, I studied music education. I'm in the middle of getting a graduate degree in theology, Thomistic studies, so a little bit of philosophy as well. This year, I'll be teaching the Logic 1 formal logic course, as well as the primer great books clusters, so history, great books, and composition primer. In terms of why logic is important, we're just constantly bombarded with arguments, thoughts, opinions, and just even this last year, this will be my second year teaching, and in my first year, learning how to construct a syllogism, learning how to construct logic, like this is your first argument and you move on. It's just helped me. I'm able to interact with the world a lot better. The way I read, the way I listen to the news, the way I have conversations with people. Not only that, but when I have disagreements with others, or I find critiques and arguments, I'm able to articulate a little bit better. So I teach in another standard classroom as well. And when I hear students, I'm able to, there's been a couple times where I've run up to the board and kind of chart out what you're saying. You're saying, this is why I'm disagreeing with you, because I disagree with this point. And it makes it a much more constructive argument. In all my other studies, as I study in graduate school myself, they just kind of light up when you have logic in your mind. You're seeing exactly what's there. It's a new framework to think through everything. I think the genius of the primer class, and especially the great books clusters, is one, you have the history and you have the composition. So you're learning to reflect and express your ideas in writing. You're looking at the context of all these things. But I think the genius of it does lie in the discussion and in the Socratic part. And so Socrates, the great questioner, would never teach just outright, but would ask questions and lead people, because he was mining for people to discover insights on their own, which I think is so valuable in a society where education in a lot of ways is just based on rote memorization and downloading information so you can spew it later, but never to assimilate the ideas, never to meditate. Archbishop Fulton Sheen has this beautiful idea of, when you meditate on something, it's like you eat. You take a bite, and then you savor it and you taste it and you chew on it and you mull it before you receive in the good. If it's bad, obviously you're going to reject it, but if it's good, you receive it and it nourishes you. And so I think a discussion like this helps someone do that in a really, really beautiful way. And so education, instead of just downloading, is really us looking and saying, look at history and look at all the great ideas and the great heritage of humanity, and let's pass that on to the next generation so that they can work through it, they can meditate on it, they can assimilate, and can nourish them as well. So I think that's really what the primer and the great books, the whole cycle, does for people. And it interacts with classes like logic, because logic, I'm learning skills here, and I'm learning how to think about the world, and I'm learning language and why things are right or wrong. But here is where I get to apply that, and some of the greatest ideas in history are going to be expressed through the 4 or 5 years that you take the cycle, and you get to discuss and you get to break it apart, and I get to be a part of that. So I'm very excited to be able to jump into those discussions this next year.